Hello, my name is Shelby Turner.
And I'm Giovanni Miranda, everyone, and this is JPC News.
Thank you for tuning into our broadcast this week. And the headlines today is the announcement of the merger of Walgreens and Rite, creating the largest drug company in the world.
Wow, those are two of my favorite drugstores, Shelby.
Me too.
That deal comes at a hefty price tag of $9.5 billion, and Walgreens is set to phase out the Rite brand completely in the following year.
Those two companies joined together could be quite a force to be reckoned with, don't you think?
I think so, Shelby. You don't have to run around anymore to get drugs. One-stop shop for all your drug needs, Shelby.
There you go.
Now with some other business news, let's learn something with Andrew.
Thank you, Giovanni. IBM announced Wednesday that it is acquiring The Weather Company, the parent company to the Weather Channel, as well as the company's B2B, mobile, and web properties. The exact financial details weren't released, but the acquisition was valued at about $2 billion. The Weather Channel itself was not included, however. But speaking of doing business, Singapore, who had been ranked by the World Bank for a decade as the easiest place in the world to do business, has held on to that title for another year. As the report states, quote, Singapore continues to be the economy with the most business-friendly regulation, end quote. The United States came in 7th on that same list. The Senate passed the Surface Transportation Extension Act this Wednesday, which allows various railways, companies, most notably Amtrak, to push back their deadline on the implementation of PTC braking technology until December of 2018. The technology, which is generally accepted to improve train safety, was originally required to be completed this year by a bill passed in 2008. President Obama is expected to sign the bill into law soon. That's all I have for business. Back to Giovanni and Shelby.
Thank you, Andrew. The engine of a Caracas Boeing 767 plane caught fire while the plane taxied for departure Thursday at 12:30 p.m. at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport in Florida. A Federal Aviation Administration official said, quote, the pilot of an aircraft traveling behind Dynamic International Airways Flight 405 reported fuel was leaking from the aircraft before it caught fire, end quote.
Wow, that's very interesting. In less than 30 seconds after the engine caught on fire and the plane landed, the passengers were able to evacuate the jet via the emergency slides onto the taxiway. Check out that image right there. Images and videos from passengers who were at the airport and on other planes also showed plumes of dark gray smoke billowing from the red and white jet.
Wow, the Broward Sheriff's Office Department of Fire Rescue also reported that 14 people were injured. Dynamic said all passengers were safely evacuated and promised an official statement soon.
And according to an FAA database, that plane was built in 1986. That is older than both of us. That's just incredible. I'm glad no one was fatally hurt, Shelby, but please keep those people in your prayers tonight, okay?
Definitely.
I wonder how airlines are going to recover from this sort of event. No more old planes, huh?
Right. But let's move on to entertainment with Renard.
Thanks, Gio and Shelby. In box office news, The Martian reclaimed the top spot at the domestic weekend box office with $15.9 million, while last weekend's champion Goosebumps settled with $15.5 million at second place. Bridge of Spies stayed in third place with $11.3 million, while Hotel Transylvania 2 held on to fifth place with $8.9 million. The Vin Diesel starring Last Witch Hunter took fourth place with $10.8 million, while Rock the Casbah with Bill Murray and the live-action adaptation of Gem and the Holograms didn't even gross more than $1.6 million each. Just as disappointing was the $7.1 million gross of the nationwide expansion of Steve Jobs, starring Michael Fassbender. Be sure to check out my reviews for these films on Not Too Critical Reviews. In other news, it is with great sorrow that we announce that Maureen O'Hara, the red-headed Irish-American queen of Technicolor, passed away in her sleep on the morning of Saturday, October 24th, 2015, at age 95. O'Hara was one of the last surviving stars of the golden age of Hollywood and has acted in a number of notable films, including The Quiet Man, How Green Was My Valley, and Rio Bravo, these three films directed by John Ford. She was also in the original Miracle on 34th Street and was the mother in the original Parent Trap. Her honorary Academy Award, which she received late last year, has an inscription. It describes her as, quote, one of Hollywood's brightest stars whose inspiring performances glowed with passion, warmth, and strength, end quote. Miss O'Hara, we thank you for your indelible contributions to cinema. You will be dearly missed. Back to you, Gio and Shelby.
Thank you, Renard, for those heartfelt words, right?
Yeah.
Here is some important news for San Diegans. You might want to check your credit card statements after shopping all day. A couple in the San Diego metro area is on the run after stealing $1,800 worth of credit cards. It's quite a shopping spree.
Yeah, the couple then charged the cards to big box stores, including Target, Walmart, and other businesses.
Not surprised at Target for that, huh? So if you shop at those stores or Target, please be cautious, okay?
All right, now on to world news with Andrew Carlisi.
Thank you, Shelby. Today it was announced that China will be abolishing its one-child policy after 35 years. This was a result of the meeting of China's top leaders trying to help boost the economic growth in China. The policy was credited from preventing 400 million births over the past 3 decades, along with causing a large gender imbalance. Steve Sang, a professor from the University of Nottingham, said, "We are talking about between 20 million and 30 million young men who are not going to be able to find a wife. That creates social problems, and it creates a large number of people who are frustrated. This abolishment helps bring China one step closer to getting rid of all family planning laws and will help rebalance their populations, but they are still under the two-child policy. Hopefully, this will lead to more flexibility. Congratulations, China." Now back to Shelby and Giovanni.
Thank you, Andrew. Well, I'm glad we broadcast the news because we would have never known that, huh? For those of you looking for an affordable house in the San Diego area, you might want to look elsewhere.
According to a study conducted on the San Diego housing market, the average home price in San Diego and its metropolitan area is $565,000 compared to the national average of $230,000.
That is quite a pretty penny, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's no surprise that the further away from San Diego, the better. Cities, Shelby, like Escondido, Fallbrook, and Chula Vista are your best bets for an affordable house under $400,000. Is that somewhere in your price range?
You know what? Not at the moment, but it is very true. Their housing prices are very good right now. Yeah. Anyways.
As am I, Shelby. Now let's go to sports with Joseph.
All right.
Thank you, Shelby and Gio. Hello, I'm Joe Venegas, here with sports. First, baseball. Tuesday, the Mets lost to the Kansas City Royals. In football news, on Sunday, Buffalo Bills got eaten by the Jaguars, Buccaneers got crushed by the Redskins, Vikings ate the Lions, Saints defeated the Colts, Chiefs beat the Steelers, Dolphins drowned the Texans, Patriots defeated the Jets, Rams shook the Browns, Falcons felled the Titans, Raiders ate the Chargers, Giants mashed the Cowboys, Panthers shredded the Eagles, and Monday the Cardinals killed the Ravens. Awesome. For all sports updates, be sure to check the JP Catholic Peloton Athletics page. This is all I have today for sports news. Thank you. Now back to Shelby and Gio.
Thank you, Joseph. Will hacking nature protect us from climate change? Scientists say to avoid a global warming catastrophe by the end of the century, humans may need to actually hack the climate. According to some experts, sucking massive amounts of CO2 out of the atmosphere will do just the job.
I wonder how they're going to do that. Klaus Lackner, director of the Arizona State University Center for Negative Carbon Emissions, and other ASU scientists are currently developing a machine that can pull that same CO2 out of thin air. Take a look at this image right here.
That's insane. Also in Massachusetts, urban design group Shift Boston is waiting for Lackner to fully develop his carbon scrubbing resin so it can be used to create Boston tree pods, synthetic solar-powered devices that would scrub CO2 and provide light at night.
Here's an artist's rendition of the CO2 scrubbing Boston tree pods. However, I'm not quite sure if we should be excited about this happening yet. There are a couple of issues at the hand. One of those is, the first is, the process would be very expensive, and second, sucking all that CO2, where the heck are we going to put it, Shelby?
That's a great question. But according to Yale University geologist Donald Penman, who studies carbon fluctuations underground in the ocean and in the air, states that the simplest place to put it is at the bottom of the ocean. However, he also says that tinkering with this climate change is quote, fiddling with the knobs of climate system, you might be opening Pandora's box.
And in November and December, experts will gather at the important United Nations meeting in Paris. They'll try to work out a new agreement on climate change and how to reduce CO2 in this atmosphere.
Man, this is just crazy information. I wonder what technology they're going to think of next, Gio.
I really don't think we need it. I mean, Jesus is coming soon, right? The world's going to end.
Well, that leads us to our next segment.
With Catholic news, and that's Chris.
Thank you, Giovanni. The 2015 Synod on the Family closed last Sunday with its final relatio becoming available over the weekend. The document itself is said to reaffirm the Church's teachings on marriage and does not call for any significant alteration in its current pastoral practices, despite the many rumors that it would. Many Catholics are still concerned about the ambiguous terminology of the relatio, claiming that it could open the door for misinterpretation as its instructions are carried out. Nonetheless, the document is consistent with the Church's doctrine and with the purpose for which the Synod was called, namely to address the vocation of the family in the modern world and to reaffirm the dignity of marriage as intended within the plan of God. Accordingly, Cardinal George Pell, who is one of 9 special advisors to the Holy Father, has stated that he is pleased overall with the results of the Synod, saying that, quote, "The Synod itself is much, much better than the worst we have feared," unquote. However, there is disagreement among the Synod Fathers as to how successful the Synod actually was. Cardinal Raymond Burke is among those who are disappointed with the final relatio because of its, quote, "lack of clarity in a fundamental matter of the faith, the indissolubility of the marriage bond, which both reason and faith teach all men," unquote. Regardless of this disagreement, the relatio was approved by a 2/3 majority of the bishops and now awaits its final decisive approval by the Holy Father himself. Well, that's all I've got for Catholic news this week, so let's throw it back to Giovanni and Shelby.
Thank you, Chris. Always great learning about our faith, isn't it, Shelby?
Definitely.
Just a quick reminder, because we all know you guys forget, the Holiday Film Festival is this Saturday from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., just in time for your bedtime. Be sure to reserve your tickets online. That link is in the email that was sent out to you by the student body on Tuesday. Tickets are limited and are going pretty fast. Be sure to reserve yours today. You have yours, Shelby?
I don't. Unfortunately, I will not be able to make it. I'm going to Disneyland. But anyways,
'cause that's
come
better.
enjoy some short films made by your fellow students. But if we do not see you there, have a safe and happy All Hallows Eve.
Halloween, Shelby. But before we sign off, here's a quick weekend weather forecast.
Today, Friday, October 30th, it will be sunny here in Escondido with mid-80s weather. Saturday, Halloween, will be in the high 80s and sunny. Hopefully, it will be lower just in time for the evening because who really wants it to be warm on Halloween night, you
No
know?
melted candy, that's right.
Sunday will be similar weather as Friday with mid-80 degree weather.
And Monday, the temperature will decrease to mid-70s. Sweater weather, isn't it? Tuesday and Wednesday, there will be weather in the low 70s with a chance of rain, so bring out those umbrellas. Thursday, it will continue to be in the low 70s, and it will be slightly cloudy, but it will clear up by Friday and Saturday with mid-70s temperature. That is all we have for you today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Giovanni Miranda again.
I'm Shelby Turner, and this is JPC News.